wish it can never fade. Pull it up or even push it down. Sometimes maybe even turn it around. So wear a smile and don't you frown. We're adjusting the weight, so don't hesitate. Glory has won the debate. It's just the weight of the crown. Come on and have me please, just so I can breathe. With humility, I know it's true. A mark at birth that sticks to you like glue. No matter what you use, you can never remove the weight of the crown.
Hi, I'm Kevin Harrington, original shark from the hit TV show Shark Tank. We all need some sort of transformation, and our world certainly needs mending. An international thought leader, executive consultant, author, and speaker, Dr. Brenda Bowers has always wanted to make the world a better place. Dr. Bowers wrote the #1 Amazon bestseller, World Changers and Difference Makers, to share the core strategies and lessons she learned during her decades of professional experience. This book is a must-have manual for the 21st century. She teaches the multiple intelligences explored in the book through her certification courses. Now, Dr. Bowers is a renowned executive coach and expert in change and transition management. She's coached CEOs, corporate presidents, numerous physicians, nurses, you name it. Her integrity and authentic expertise and approach are unique and cutting edge. Whatever your problem and pain point may be, Dr. Bowers can get you to your next solution. She offers training and speaking to organizations seeking to improve their corporate culture, leadership, diversity, and inclusion. She's also the author of the daily devotional, A Word for You, 365 Days of Spiritual Growth. And this is another #1 Amazon bestseller. She's also known for her inspiring daily 60-second videos, A Word of Difference. Now, if you're not already part of her tribe, then don't waste another minute. Sign up for one of her masterminds and visit her website to get connected with Dr. Brenda Bowers and the A Word for You community. Finding her is simple, awordforyou.com, and believe me, she has a word and services that will fit your needs today. Thanks for listening.
I was speaking with a friend one day about the past several years of what we've been contending with as a society. Whether it was Anthony Lamar Smith or Trayvon Martin or Michael Brown or Virginia Tech. So then I had to pause and I thought, when did we stop loving each other? And when did we start hating humanity so much that we have forgotten that when we hate people, that means we hate ourselves? My name is Dr. Brenda Bowers, and I have not given up hope for our world or our society. And I believe that you feel the same way too. Our greatest power lies within reach because it lies within us. We can move from RIP to LIP, from rest in peace to live in peace, to love in peace, to laugh in peace, to learn in peace, to listen in peace, even maybe legislate in peace. We can do this. I know we can. We can take back our liberty in peace, and we can let freedom ring. Life, not only death, lie within the power of the tongue.
Let's give a warm welcome to CEO and founder of A Word for You Incorporated, Dr. Brenda Bowers.
Wow, what did I do besides being your blood little brother, the only one you got? Everybody else is older, but what could I possibly have done to have the person that was just introduced like that.
Mm.
I'm going to tell you right now, Kevin Harrington, and your introduction, let me tell you something. There's a whole bunch of folks wish they could have done that, but see, they didn't bear that weight of the cross that you are going to be presenting to the world. They couldn't handle that. All I can say is I'm welcoming you, but at the same time, I'm just welcoming myself to be in the presence of the Queen Bee herself, Dr. B. Wow, what a wonderful moment to be able to, on Dr. King's actual birthday, his 95th birthday, actually, to be able to welcome somebody that not only knows about legacy, knows about life and legacy, but somebody that is a legend. So I want to welcome you, Dr. B, my sister and BFF and all that. And I'm so happy and excited about you just being on. And for me, I'm just going to be blessed to be a part of the billions in the world that are going to hear what you're going to tell us about a bunch of stuff. Because you know it's about Dr. King, but it's about everything else. It's about everything else that great, excellent leaders like you need to know, because it's going to take excellent leaders to make our world better. So we all welcome you. We screaming and hollering. The Sounds of Good News and Yes Club is just blessed to have you. So that's it. You're the special guest. So it's time for me to shut up, but I will sneak in here and there. So welcome.
Oh, please do. Um, the platform is yours, and I am just that, a guest. But I am an honored guest and an humble guest because you're my youngest brother. I had the opportunity to spend much of my life closest with you.
Hmm.
So we got to become best friends by default, by design, and then by desire.
Wow.
I am so grateful. Shout out to you for being so consistent and how you keep our Black leaders
Mm.
in front of us, whether they are historical, contemporary. What I love most is that you do it when no one even knows they're anyone. You take them when they're 2, when they're 3, when they're 4, when they're in elementary school, when they're middle school, when they're in high school, and you turn them into these individuals
Mm.
that give me hope that the generations you're working with
Mm.
through the Yes Club, they are exactly who we've been waiting for. Where we're afraid to be in the 21st century,
Hmm.
as long as we have you, Mr. C, and you're out there going in neighborhoods that people are wondering why in the world you ever would, anyone with any sense never would. But whenever you do, you always bring one more of those youth out, and they're shining a little brighter,
Wow.
smiling a little longer, and
Mm.
their GPA is starting to go up.
Mm.
Not because you're just tutoring them, but because you have truly made a commitment, a call, a
Wow.
purpose, a duty, and a charge from the God that I know that you love and glorify.
Wow.
And you say yes. You say yes, Carl, even after we had family tragedy in the very area that you have decided to plant your seed
Mm.
for the Yes Club. We dealt with losing a nephew to violence in Milwaukee, in Rockford, that created, I'm sorry, you all, I'm in Wisconsin, but
Mhm.
that created a very um, tumultuous time, because of a key thing regarding Dr. King,
Mm-hmm.
we were raised to treat everyone the same,
Yes.
even though we had to accept that we were going to be treated differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we were never allowed to treat other people differently.
Mm-hmm.
We were just raised to be aware
Yeah.
we would be treated differently. And
Wow.
Carol, right now, I think that is a differentiator. I actually think it's part of your secret sauce. Why people just can't pick up and do the Yes Club, just, oh, let me just get a few people. But it's so much more than a youth choir. It's so much more than a Boy Scout or a Cub Scout. It's so much more than a club or an association.
Mm.
Is a movement of transformation
Wow.
that should give us all hope that don't give up yet. Don't jump in the river yet.
Wow.
Don't hang yourself yet. Don't OD yet. Because you are a young eagle and you're soaring.
Mm.
And you have Professor Cole giving you the playbook.
Wow.
Because, Carl, people know it all the time. They know all the things. Well, all they had to do was do this. All they had to, if they had never done this, is. But you take that question out and you work with these young people, give them the playbook. And I really think that you should start being much more communicative, much more overt in providing us numeric stats. Give us the data. Give us the data, because, audience, I'm telling you, Regal Royals in particular that are watching this segment, the work that Carl is doing is making a difference. The needle is moving. So who do we give money to? A whole lot of people are asking for money, right? And we look for those few things that we should sow into. I want you to know you should sow into his ministry, the Yes Club. Refuses to say no to death when it comes to win. To say no to gun violence, to domestic violence, to poor grades, to bullying, and then say yes, because we're a Yes Club and we're young enough to soar, because he depicts them as eagles, and eagles are such an amazing animal on platforms as well, and they soar. So,
Yeah.
Professor Carl, thank you for, I've seen multi-ages, boys and girls, ethnicity striad that you just cannot match anywhere. And all of that, when you got that amalgamation together, they can act and sing. Wow. I'm not used to that since I was about 3 or 4 years old.
Because you sure did it. A
I'm
natural.
thinking about you.
Well,
What's exciting to you about this day?
Wow. Well, I can tell you this. You've been an inspiration for so long that I'm just happy to be able to not only be in place to give you some technological support, some professional support with music production. You were there when Sounds of Good News was created and founded back in 1979 at 529 East Madison Street, where Whit Coles lived. And I had just went to NIU and came home for Thanksgiving. And you knew about the logo with the ear and the cross. You knew all of that. And I'm just so excited about this particular moment with us, because I know, because I learned actually from you about our legacy, which I didn't really think about because I was just busy doing stuff. And I remember when Mom said I was into everything, but what I did recently think about with having someone of your magnitude and caliber on this platform is that a whole bunch of stuff happened in 1963, and it wasn't just the I Have a Dream speech, but that was so significant, particularly because of that content of your character part that we knew way before we knew about that. Before we knew anything about that, we had examples of character excellence that I am so proud to be able to say today. That goes all the way back to 4 months after Dr. King's speech, literally in that year.
Yeah.
Mom, Irma Lee Davis Cole, got recognized in a state level publication
Mm.
that had her 7 kids in it singing.
Mm, mm, mm.
Singing Coles, and we were in it because somebody caught Mama doing good, and somebody caught Mama displaying excellent character. So I'm excited about you because you've been doing it to the degree, and just like Mr. Harrington said, you're a 3-time best-selling author. You are a famous person. You have administrated complete health systems. You have accomplished things that most, not just women, not just Black women, but most people don't accomplish because of your creative juices, your talent, your skills, your brilliance. That's one of the B's of Dr. B, is you certainly are brilliant. And you know what? We're glad today to be able to let the World Wide Web know that Dr. Brenda Joe Bowers is going to be doing some stuff that's going to make our world better, and it's going to happen just like water to the thirsty. That's how it's going to happen, just like a smorgasbord buffet to the hungry. So I'm humbled and honored because you are a legend and you are a legacy. And SOGN Yes Club, I'm just doing what I saw, and I did what I knew was right that we learned. And thank you for believing in it. And thank you for the many times, and you've been a supporter forever.
Oh, yeah.
You have, and I know you're going to continue to be, but I'm glad that now we're able to do some more to support you on your journey of doing your magnificent podcast of The Way to the Crown that really actually is going to be blessing and helping leaders, because that's the key to helping the followers. So thank you for that. Thank you for being you, and just for having something, always having something that's relevant and necessary for everybody to have.
Whew. Yeah, that's pretty heavyweight, Colonel. But I do, as I look at you and as those who watch this broadcast, who I hope are many, a couple of quick things, because I don't do good talking about me. But there are a couple of things that I do want you to be aware of. I do have over 40 years of healthcare executive leadership, also nonprofit leadership, government leadership, and church leadership.
Mhm.
Also, individual development and growth, couples, parents to children, children to children, um, whether we go from one individual to a Fortune 100 one company. So,
Mhm.
and if you go around the world, I've even had opportunity to do some work in the Vatican. I'm very humbled.
Mhm.
And my work in charge, I've always considered it supplemental to the greater good that's going on, and
Mhm.
to be surrounded by people who would not suck that greater good out of me,
Mhm.
because we don't live in a world that says yes, yes, club. We live in a world that says no.
Mhm.
Just with the demographic that the answer cannot be yes, the answer must be no. But
Mhm.
we're acknowledging Dr. Martin Luther King today, and I'm so glad that he made a decision to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't just say, he didn't get to say yes to be Black. God did. So
Mm-hmm.
God said yes to him being Black. He
Mm-hmm.
embraced that. And then he did a whole lot of life research to say, so what does it mean when God makes you Black?
Mm-hmm.
And in his greatest work, in his most mature mountaintop experience, when that preponderance of a question was raised that he had no idea was going to leave his beautiful wife and
Mm-hmm.
her gorgeous children alone,
Mm-hmm.
he was willing to recognize that Morehouse as a Black college didn't define him,
Mm-hmm.
that the Baptist church didn't define him,
Mm-hmm.
the Church of God in Christ didn't define him,
Mm-hmm.
the mainstream white churches didn't define him. So then what defined him? Because he predominantly, for many, would say he was my Black hero.
Mm-hmm.
Yet everything that I have searched about him aligns with the way we were raised, Carl,
That's true.
which was, yeah, you're going to have issues because of race, but that's because of how other people are going to decide to contend with you.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to have issues about race because of something you've done wrong to other people.
Mm-hmm.
That allowed us in our childhood to be able to not be afraid because we were raised up in a pretty multiracial, eclectic kind of environment. We
Mm-hmm.
weren't only around the Pentecostals or the Baptists or the Lutherans or the Methodists or the AMEs or the Elkas. We lived in a community that was relatively small, but you still had the freedom to worship wherever you wanted to worship.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. King characteristic for me that was given through our family was we sang at everybody's church.
Yes,
We
yes.
did programs at everybody's church.
You're right.
I
You're
I,
right.
I remember us singing in Beloit at a store called McNeely's.
Yeah.
And I
Mm.
was a little girl, and I was so excited to be able to. I was so proud of my family. I got to be a little girl that looked up to her mom and her dad and her older sister and her older brothers, and I got to help take care of this one younger brother. And I was just always so excited about it. And I remember when we finished singing at McNeely's, and I went and I got some water out of the
Mm.
water fountain.
Mm.
And a nice little old white lady came and she grabbed my ear and she pulled me back.
Mm.
She said, "Little colored girl, you know you can't drink out of that fountain."
Wow. Mm.
And that stuck with me
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I wanted to know why I couldn't drink out of the fountain.
Absolutely. Mm.
And I was a little girl then.
Yeah.
Then when I started getting straight A's in
Mhm.
high school,
Anyway.
and I was in the 10th grade and I was in high English, and I had a male white instructor,
Mm-hmm.
and he would come to school with what I could smell as some type of smoking drugs and wet hair, and we were taking a class, and I was in his class and we were taking a test. And I got done with the test and I gave it to him and I got 100 on the test.
Ooh.
And he came up to me and he said, and these, Carl, are experiences that you don't even know are happening. You just rolling. You know, you got your peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or either you run down to Big's house because she gonna make what we got that people call sloppy joes and we call them scrumptious hamburger.
I'm telling you.
She's gonna scrump us up some hamburger and we're gonna run down and get a scrumped up hamburger with a piece of cheese on it and eat it and get back to class and run back up to high school. We're gonna be all good. But in this case, my mother was called, and I was accused of cheating in that test.
Wow.
And it was very difficult because I didn't understand. What did I do? I know I covered my paper. I know I didn't let anyone see.
Mhm.
The teacher told the principal that a black girl could never get 100% on his test.
Oh my goodness.
My mom walked up to Mama. She walked up to the high school,
Mm.
and the principal put me in a closed office with a different test, and my mom had to sit there until I finished it.
Mm.
And I got 100 on the second test.
Ooh. Mm, mm, mm.
So, Dr. King being willing to never know a
Yeah.
Brenda Cole,
Mm-hmm.
but to understand that there was an experience that was really a movement
Mm-hmm.
that we didn't understand the value.
Yeah.
The Harriet Tubman Underground Train. We didn't understand the value of the import of the house slave versus the field slave versus the armor bearer or the cup bearer. There's so much that we didn't understand, but them couple of folks that understood, Frederick Douglass understood,
Mm-hmm.
and they never gave up. Dr. King didn't say he had a dream where segregation was going to prevail and the world was going to have peace because we learned how to get into our own corners.
Mm.
What he did was allow me to sit here today and say, I could call you Carl because you're my brother, you're my friend. I can call you my buddy. But today I get to call you King Cole.
Wow.
Not because old King Cole was a merry old soul, and not because of Nat King Cole,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but because this legend, this landmark, this legacy, this king did what I want to help people do on my platform. One, accept what you are.
Yeah.
Get in the mirror and say, I am a queen. I am a king. I am a Dutch. I am a duchess. I am a leader. I am a prince. I am a princess.
Yeah.
Recognize that it is not a statement of pride, but it is the content of our character. Dr. King, the only way we could have content in character was to put content into character.
Wow.
One of the pieces of content, Carl, is being able to look at you and say, wow, I see a king.
Mm.
For you to know the content of what that means. I'm left-handed, and I research what it means to be left-handed in a right-handed world. And hey, left-handed queens and kings that are listening to this, left-handed princesses, hey, you left-hander duchesses that are out there, I want to talk to you all because we're going to have some time just to talk about what it means. Live left-handed in a right-handed world when people know you're left-handed and they'll sit to your left anytime in any way and know they're going to be bumping your elbow when you're trying to eat. And some people think that that's funny. But for those of us who are left-handed, we are going to work very diligently to ensure that we are not disruptive in any public setting that we go, because we know people don't understand. People don't know how to iron left-handed. People don't know how to eat left-handed. People don't know how to act right in a movie left-handed. But for Dr. King, that's also part of the content that got added into our character. It isn't just how do Black people and white people get together, queens, kings, princes, princesses, duchesses, duchesses, and leaders. How do left-handed people get along in these right-handed worlds?
Yeah.
Well, I'm somebody that would love to talk to you about that. Because there are intellectual implications, there are psychological implications, there are spiritual implications, there are fiscal implications, there are emotional and mental implications. So a time that what grieves my heart is that there are many people who don't know who Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is.
Yes, it's
Why
true.
would he change his name? There are
Mm,
people that don't know who Coretta Scott King was,
mhm,
that don't know how to look and watch how legacy is carried on when a legend dies. To
mm,
look at the children and see the work that they did, just as that first King family,
mhm, mm,
the benefits and nuggets that we can get. It isn't true that we don't have people to look to. It isn't true that we don't have role models. Carl, you and I are here because we have role models.
that's right.
And they include Dr. King. We're so blessed from having an amazing family. We share a brother who keeps Frederick Douglass alive, who keeps
Absolutely. Mhm,
key Black male figures alive
mhm, mm,
that do some very challenging, very high level conflict resolution,
mhm,
very strong discussions of negotiation that end in peace.
mhm,
Most of those we don't hear about. The arbitration that Black men are committed to do today, there
mhm.
are many of them.
You're right.
I hope that we would highlight more of them. But if not, I want to highlight you
Oh,
because you have been able to talk down. I want you to think about this. This isn't a rhetorical question. I want you to think about how many times the mechanism of the Yes Club has been used to take a very volatile and violent situation and be able to have its outcome be peace.
mm,
How many times have you done that? As you think about that number, I want you to know I have a curriculum called Bully Proof. And I didn't write the Bully Proof curriculum for the age grade that you had. You know who I wrote it for? I wrote it for nurses because
mm,
nurses engage in something called lateral violence. And
mm,
instead of knowing how to collaborate together, they will often destroy it. In healthcare is called they will eat their young. So
mm,
I created some curriculum around that. And then I made the curriculum relevant from preschool all the way through postdoc. And one of the one of the years I had such a cool opportunity to be a keynote speaker at a women's conference at the Pfister Hotel here in Milwaukee. And Gloria Steinem was interested in this lateral violent topic. And she
mm.
came to my breakout session. So
Wow.
there's a little brush that I had
Mm,
aligns this whole 360. Uh,
mhm,
how old is too old and how young is too young? And
mm,
the answer is the same. You're never too old and you're never too young.
mhm.
So we do similar work, we cross similar paths, but it happened because of mom and daddy, right?
That's right. Mhm.
And we have these documented things in the Illinois history book that has our pictures on it. And I promise you, Carl, even though people don't think it, and I'll rescue any day of the week,
Mhm.
I am the shy person. I am the shy child of the seven.
Oh, come on now.
I am. So then we're in these books, and here I am, number 6 or 7, looking all puny and pitiful, and
No, no.
and afraid. And guess what? Afraid that I'm holding up my left hand and everybody else is holding up their right hand. And I'm saying, what's wrong with you, girl? Because things like that in society really do create these places where a Martin Luther King is needed to straighten it out.
Mhm. Mhm.
Otherwise, we just live growing up right now. I have a daughter in law that's left handed. Let me tell you, that was just like Jesus himself coming back. I said,
Mm.
"You're left handed? Oh my goodness." Now, when we go somewhere, we can always sit next to each other because if you can get another left handed person, then all I do is wait for her because I know we can sit together. So I'm saying that to close by saying, as we look at Martin Luther King Jr., It's amazing we're celebrating his birthday on his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
In 2024, the Hebraic year 5784, where we're in a decade of the mouth and a year of a door, I really believe that it's a year for us to have Martin Luther King Jr.'s mouth become alive. I believe it is a year for us to walk through the doors that he paved the way for. It is a year to let Frederick Douglass speak to us in the 21st century so that we can see the nuggets that still are available to us, so that Harriet Tubman and Rosa Parks and all of the 7 of the singing Coles can come out in their own venue, their own platform, because all of us are doing what we were trained to do. That's make the world a better place.
That's right.
My grandmother did that. Had the pleasure of knowing all my grandparents, but Josephine Turner Davis, in my ending, I have this in one of my books, is people say, were you raised with a silver platter? And I just say yes. And guess what? Everybody I knew you came from old money. I knew. No, that's not what it meant for me. You know what being raised with a silver platter meant? It meant that my grandmother not only cleaned for people, she taught me how to clean toilet spots. She also catered. She had this huge catering event, and I was 8 years old. And she took me, and wow, and going anywhere. If I got to go to the mailbox with my grandmother, it was an honor. I had sensationalized with relatives. I had the best, you know.
Oh, yes.
And she took me. And she took me and she told me, she said, I'm going to teach you something. Do you think you can learn it? Yes, ma'am. I'll do it. And the first thing she told me to do is shut my eyes. So I shut my eyes, and she told me to put my hand up, and I did. She put a silver platter in my hand.
Wow.
And she said, are your eyes still closed? I said, yes, ma'am. And they were. And she said, okay. And she started putting stuff on it.
Oh, my goodness.
But I couldn't open my eyes.
Wow.
She said, okay, can you feel how heavy it is now? I said, yes, ma'am. Don't open your eyes. All right. Put some more. Then when it was full, she said, you feel how heavy that is? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, now you're going to walk out those doors, and you're going to walk around, and you're not going to look at anybody. You're not making eye contact with anyone. All you're going to do is walk around, and people are going to start taking stuff off of the silver platter.
Wow.
When the silver platter feels like it did when I first put it in your hand, then you walk back to the kitchen so I can fill it up again.
Wow.
And that's my silver platter story. Because what would we call that today? Wow, we open this up for comments right now, Carl, there would be so many derogatory things that I know. And I hope that day comes, because I want to have that dialogue. Y'all, let's talk about it. Let's be about it. Because let's talk about being a regal royal, because Martin Luther King was a regal royal. Let me tell you about it. Let me tell you what I got on right now. I have on earrings from Josephine Davis that she gave to Irma Lee Cole. These belong to my grandmother that gave me that silver platter experience. It's amazing. I have on a hummingbird, because when my mom left 3 years ago, a hummingbird came up to our window.
Wow.
So I surround myself with regal royal energy. Lastly, Carl, I would just say, thank you, Dr. King. Thank you. Because in order for the regal royals of today to stand up and be willing to be called a king and a queen, we had to have someone who was willing to be a king, not goofy, not in a comedic way, but in a revolutionary movement way that still upheld Jesus Christ as the only way. There's so much more I wish I could do. But what I can do is say to you all who are listening, say this, Carl, to anyone who has you on any platform. Here's a couple of things that Dr. B knows. Queen B, yeah, I'm one of those very few people in the 8 billion population that has 2 accredited doctorate degrees. So I'm a researcher, numerologist. I'm unapologetic Christian. I'm unapologetic holy, but I'm unapologetic numerologist. I'm unapologetic scientist. I understand that God uses all elements in all creation, and I try to study all of them. And I have healthcare background and executive coaching. The thing that I would say to offer as I end my part is you're going to have a whole lot of opportunities to engage with us. But if you don't have a coach, you need one.
Yeah, that's true.
Know how to, if you know you got kingdom all up inside of you and you don't know what to do with it, let me tell you who you looking at. Casey, because he ain't old King Cole, he just King Cole. For real. Oh, he's really King Cole. Ain't that
Wow.
Cole? And then I get to really be a queen bee. Her name is Brenda. But our grandmothers and grandfathers, our ancestors, who, Carl, I'm excited about us coming back and talking about Daddy Boone and the Illinois Railroad. I'm excited about us coming back and talking about Uncle Gene.
Absolutely.
Talking about Daddy and Uncle Ike and talking about Grandpa and Grandma. There's so many things that we could choose to say our life was messed up because instead, I'd love to shut down the internet.
Yeah.
By saying something that, Carl, you did. When I wanted you to go to Disney because they wanted you because you were an incredible animator ever since you were probably 3 years old. And I was your #1 fan. But doggone it, you could look at a number and you could see everything it ever could have been, should have been, shouldn't have been, put it here. It was just crazy. You're a prodigy, the way you do math. And you were the only one of the 7 that actually packed up and went to school. I was so proud of you, and I am right now. And I want you to know that who you are, not who you've been and not who you will be. I want to talk about the Carl, who you are. Because you got people in Chicago that need to be endorsing you. Because you have people in Rockford that need to be endorsing you. Because you have people in Freeport, where we came from, that need to be endorsing you. We need to move away from the place to where we're putting down 50s and 100s and recognize when God has given us a multi-million-dollar opportunity, who we will never be able to pay enough, but we certainly should have the conversations about how do we compensate the intangibles that can be translated into tangible experiences that other people can enjoy and be transformed by as an extension of the work of Dr. King, an extension of James Alfred and Irma Lee, an extension of our grandparents and their parents. So what I want to call it a plug. It's just the truth. I don't have to plug the truth. And who anybody can be a dressed up lie. We were taught just be buck naked truth. If you show up at the river buck naked and use the truth, and that dressed up tuxedo lie come next to you, and then the rendering is going to be the truth. Jump in the water and swim. The lie, jump in the water and swim. And whoever gets to the other side first is the truth. But guess what? That buck naked truth then jumped in that water, swam past them alligators and crocodile, and the dressed up lie still on the bench, still at the shore. Well, I ain't got to prove I'm the truth. That's how come I got on all these good clothes. I ain't got to. But all of us know that that drenching buck naked soul
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
is the truth.
Yes, yes,
Carl,
yes.
you're always the buck naked truth.
Wow.
So we need to get some bucks
All right.
to your pocket
Wow.
so that you can be the royal regal in position like Martin Luther King was for us. Thank you for being a living legend. Thank you for being my brother. Thank you for being my hero. And on the platforms of Seeds of Wisdom in New Ground and A Word for You Incorporated,
Mm-hmm.
this
Mm-hmm.
King Day, we are sowing a seed into your ministries.
Mm.
And you know, I am so incredibly numerical.
Mm-hmm.
This is the year of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask everybody that would anywhere that hears us to sow a seed of $20.24 or of $2,040
Mm.
or sow a seed of $24 million.
Mm.
But
Mm.
sow a seed so that the work of Sound of Good News can continue. This is also the year of the door and the year of pay. So
Mm.
now I'm going to ask you 5784 is the Hebrew year. If you want to know more about that, then you got to follow me.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that you will. But it is year 5784. We're in the decade of the mouth and we are in the year of the door. So I
Mm-hmm.
want you to use your mouth,
Mm-hmm.
open a door,
All right.
and I want you to sow to the Yes Club a
Mm.
seed of $57.84
Wow.
for the Hebrew year 5784.
Mm.
So either 5784, so $5,784.
Mm.
So 57 million.
Mm.
But provide resources where you can have the assurance those tax deductible funds will be being utilized to decrease crime.
Mm-hmm.
Carl, you got the stats. You got to just show them a stat sheet. But I tell you what, I've heard them say. I went home because Mr. Cole told me I shouldn't stay out of that nightclub. I
Wow.
was going to say some cuss words, but Dr. C told me that I better not cuss. I've
Mm.
heard mothers say, thank you for getting my son home safe. I've seen you on television talking about what you do is just teach him to do right
Mm.
instead of accentuating what's wrong.
Mm.
We make it really hard. I'm going to make it easy.
Mm.
So into the work that this young man is doing.
Mm.
Because if you really want to keep Martin Luther King's dream alive, then you have to sow into the organizations that are already doing it. Thank you, Carl,
Wow.
for already doing it.
Wow. Well, I'm just going to have to clap my own self, and I know that there are millions of people clapping who were blessed to be able to listen to everything that came out of your mouth, because as almost embarrassing as it was for me to be put on such a high esteem, but then also to be allowed to be humble because it was founded on truth. And what you did, you shined your light. You let your light shine. That's what mom and dad taught us, and we sang it. But you actually shined, and I just want you to know today, in front of everybody on Dr. King Day, that it was because your light shined that I knew it was okay for me to shine too. Because I knew I could, and I had the light, and I had the stuff. But somehow, when you said it, I believed it, and then I knew I could do it too. because I remember when you graduated early because you were so smart. And I remember when we couldn't even hardly count all them dimples. And before I was born, we were told all about you being light skinned with the dimples. But I learned from that my little dimples got me out of some trouble too, but that's a whole nother episode. But I feel that an exhortation and a dissertation and a message that we just got from you was absolutely global. And what's so fantastic about it is that it inspired all of us to be a part of the mission, the life's mission that's bigger than Dr. King, because he tried to do it and he did a lot. He did as much as he could.
Mm-hmm. And you know, Carl, I really am asking, I do have a social ask of those who will view this. I have a social ask that we not find all the things that were wrong with Dr. King's life, or all the things that were wrong in the controversial relationships that he had with other people of color or white, that we are really able to no longer miss our blessing by getting caught up in the nuances, because we're not ever talking about gaping holes. These are nuances of difference of opinion. We're not worried about if we have differing opinions. That's great. What we want to align around is our values. Values violators, you should remove yourself from. But if we share the same values, we never have to share the same opinion, because our value set to keep us on a platform of peace. So I have an ask to society and to the world in 2024, a year of the door, a year where we should expect more, and a year where we should make what we're going to have in store instead of waiting for it to just drop out of the ceiling. It's time for some of us to just get up off the floor and get to the door, so that we can do what Martin Luther King did for us. So my ask is that we would find opportunities of unity, that we would support each other's platforms. Platforms and social media are being used for everything you could think of wrong. There are some excellent things on it. And I think it's a great opportunity for the church when used correctly. But don't just take this stuff and say, oh, who is that, and click away. Because there are some things that you do need to know, you do need to hear. And for somebody like me, depending on where you're coming to me at, if you come to the Weight of the Crown sessions, we talk about how heavy it is to wear this crown that's given to us. We talk about the various crowns in the Bible, and we talk about we can't take it off, but we have to adjust it. So I'm so grateful that we had not only had Abraham Lincoln, but that we had Dr. King, and that we had James Alfred and Irma Lee, because they fooled around and got in that Illinois history book when we were little, and they did it twice. And Mama's dad came from Canton, Mississippi, and was the only Black person on the Illinois Railroad. And then he got his sister's boyfriend a job, because that was the only way he was going to be able to get up here and marry her. Do you know we have done so many amazing things that we can now say, lift every voice and sing.
Yes.
Till earth and heaven ring. Out the harmonies of liberty. You know why that's important, Carl? Because in a world where we feel bound, 86,400 seconds a day, how many of those seconds do you feel bound? So my next and final ask is that each of you, as you are supporting Sounds of Good News, as you are supporting the Yes Club, lift your voice. Don't lift your voice in a rant. Don't lift your voice in anger. Don't lift your voice in admission. Don't lift your voice to massacre anyone, to
Mhm.
demasculate anyone, to be abusive, or to be predatory. Lift your voice and sing.
Wow.
And sing a song
Mm-hmm.
full of all of this stuff, all of this stuff. But we can either make it stuff that makes us a nightmare maniac,
Mm-hmm.
or we can make it music
Yeah. Yeah.
and turn it into magic.
Wow.
And Mr. C, nobody makes music like you.
Oh my goodness.
You're the man. You all know, you've heard me ask certain things. I'm actually strategic, not just only numeric and scientific and saved and sanctified, filled, baptized with Holy Ghost. I know how many times I've asked you to give. So before I get off of here again,
Mm.
I want you to give. This is year 2024. Give an iteration of that. Don't let it be any less than $20.24. But it can be that $200.40 or $2,000 and 2 million we will not reject. And if you're going to follow that Jewish calendar of year 5 is 5,000, we're way high up here. We're in 5784, 5,784, $57.84.
Wow.
You know what? You tell me. If somebody gives $5,700.84, I wish I could tell you I had in my check to write right now. But if you give it, I promise I'll match it,
Wow.
because
Wow.
that's who you are to me.
Mm.
KC, I know you missed your C, but I'm calling you KC because I'm calling you King Cole.
Oh my goodness.
I
Well,
love you. Thank you for the opportunity.
wow. I just been in the last few minutes trying to find some breath and breathe before I fall out on the camera from all of the greatness that you shared with us, because you're just great. And an eagle has to fly. That's what she was created to do. So we're unapologetic that you soared, because you can't soar unless you fly high. A fish isn't ashamed of swimming because that's what God created her to do. And so you did it. And I just was hoping that I could get somebody as famous and magnificent and magnanimous as you, to be able to shine some light on the subject, because this is bigger than us. This is our first month of this new year of the door and new beginnings. But I am going to tell you that next month, all month being National Black History Month, I'm honored to have had you to be able to kick off that dispensation. And on the 24th will be Mom Irma Lee Davis Cole's birthday. And what we're going to do, if I would have the opportunity to be on your Way to the Crown podcast,
Oh my
um,
goodness.
and
Love
if it isn't on Mom's birthday, if it's posted on Mom's birthday, one thing that I want you to know that we're going to do at Sounds of Good News, Yes Club, Young Eagle Success Club, we're going to give you a word for you, ink, everything, Dr. Brenda Joe. We're going to give you a Golden Eagle Global Award on
Oh
Mom's birthday.
goodness.
That's what we're going to do, because
You're
for
over
the last
me.
for over a decade, I have always done some sort of a worldwide web post on Mom's birthday for Black History Month. And this year, if I have the opportunity to be on your platform,
Wow.
I'm going to have a Golden Eagle Global Award for
Wow.
my sister, Brenda, who is a sister, a mother, an ambassador, a doctor, a person who brings ultimate positivity. You take us up.
Mm.
If anybody has ever powered up, it was you. And I want to thank you for doing it for me, because you protected me, you directed me,
Mm.
you perfected me and projected me. And I just want you to know that today we made history because nobody never did this.
No, how cool.
And
And
we,
it's so cool. It's such a cool thing. And I do want to thank Dad and Mom. I want to thank Dad because he was my Martin Luther King
yeah,
Jr. So I would be remiss if I didn't say that,
that's right.
because so many families seem to be coming. We do this stuff. Siblings do this because of how broken their families were. So I
Mhm.
want you to know that I love my mom. I love my dad. I have nothing but love for them. I
Mhm.
don't have a list of blaming them for anything. They gave me the opportunity to have life. My dad passed away, unfortunately, when I was 14 years old. He was 50. It was a very young age, but he was a smoker and a drinker, and he knew the consequences of such. And
Yes.
I didn't know, kind of pre getting me into the healthcare side. I was able to sit by him, and he was so skinny. And he asked me if I saw those little people sitting on the end of the bed, of which I didn't. And then he told me to look again, and I was kind of like, okay, let me look
Mhm.
again. But then he told me he's gonna have to leave me, and he said, "And I got to tell you some stuff that you can't do."
Yes, yes,
He
yes.
used his last breath with the trach in his whole throat to tell
Mhm.
me not to drink because he
Yeah,
drank,
yeah.
not to smoke,
Mhm.
he smoked,
Yeah.
not to use illicit drugs,
Mhm.
not to have a profane mouth.
Yes.
And the last thing he told me, queens, I'm talking to queens and duchesses now, I'm talking to princesses now, wannabes. You know the last thing he told me? Don't marry a man with smooth hands because he gonna want you to take care of him.
Oh, yes. I know he said it because I heard him.
And those were the 5 takeaways as a 14-year-old girl
Mhm.
who ended up becoming a teenage mom, who ended up having a story of abuse, but a song of success.
Yes,
So
yes.
there's so much. We're just introducing you to our platform. There were 7 of us, and we thank God. We were the singing Coles. I was number
Yes,
7. I
yes.
love my family. I love my
Mhm.
sister Linda, my late brother. We call Butch James Cole,
Mhm.
James Leroy Cole. Actually, I have my baby son named that. And then Clyde Alvin Cole, Stevie
Mhm.
Alfred Cole, Michael Floyd Cole, Brenda Jo Cole, and then the magnificent
Mm.
Professor Mr. Dr. C, who for us, hey, you come and listen to us, you're going to be listening to King Cole and Queen B.
Wow.
You better listen, because when we sting
Mm.
you, you live and not die.
Wow. Wow. Well, I just want you to know that from Sounds of Good News Productions, we are very proud and excited to do your music for you and help you with any video editing you need and just to support you because of all of the decades that you supported not only me and us, but you supported everybody around you, and you supported people that remember you and people that forget you. And I think it's impossible. They can't forget you. They just ain't gonna say nothing. They ain't just ain't gonna remember you. But I want you to know, I want to say thank you. You're the reason that I have some pieces of paper that people will be happy to say is a Bachelor of Arts, Masters of Arts, Masters of Divinity. I just want to say that you made that happen because you didn't give up on me and you didn't leave me out and you didn't leave me behind. And I want to say thank you for that.
Girl, you the most. Y'all up here on these cyber network platform. Don't you fool around and get in no elevator, go to no restaurant with this man. He know the Bible backwards and forward. He know everything in between. He more than a master of divinity, and he knows the doctrine as well as the scripture. So you know, if you have an option of the elevator or the steps, you just got to decide if you want to get smarter, hop in the elevator with him. But if you don't want to have the real deal Holyfield, then
Mm,
you might want to take the steps.
wow.
This guy right here,
Mm,
he's the real deal.
Wow.
I get to call him my brother.
Wow.
It ain't fake. I get to call him my brother.
Oh, yes. And it's a privilege. And I'll tell you, when we got taught that golden rule to treat others as they've been, as you want to be treated yourself, all I can say is that the kids listen to me and they like me, and I don't know why. But in a matter of minutes, I can get them and I can help them and I can lead them, and they trust me and they believe me. And I'm glad that today that our special guest was a special guest of special guests who not only is believable and trustworthy, but guess what, Dr. B? You are receivable. And everybody in the world is blessed because of what you said today. We appreciate you. Thanks so much.
I appreciate you. And I have watched the Yes Club, except the Yes Club doesn't get the honor of being around when you wrote Following the Golden Rule.
Yes, you remember.
You know, it's such a beautiful song.
Long
And
time
when
ago.
I hear the Yes Club sing it, and they do a 3-part harmony on that last line. Makes a better place for me and you.
Right.
And they do it in harmony.
Mm-hmm.
They do it in unity.
Yeah.
But if we do unto others as we would have them do unto us. And the last secret sauce I'll give you to make you want to itch to follow what I have to offer is so much more than the golden rule. We have to learn to find out how people want to be treated.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
we may think
Mm-hmm.
we're doing a good thing,
Mm-hmm.
and we've never been quiet long enough to ask them, do you even eat chicken?
Wow. Yeah.
Take the time. If
Yeah.
you could do me one last thing, please take the time to eat your own words. You're magnificent.
Mm.
So, as I get off of here, Carl, I want to ask you if you would please receive the validation of these affirmations as my meal that I'm serving to you.
Mm.
Because you are, Carl, creative. You are amazing.
Mm.
You are righteous.
Mm.
You are loyal.
Mm.
You are candid.
Mm.
You are omniscient in my mind.
Mm.
You are loyal and
Mm.
you are exceptional.
Mm.
So, Carl Cole, I
Mm.
know maybe you haven't eaten yet, but would you please eat that meal first and receive it, chew it, and digest it because it is how I see you.
Oh my goodness. Well, Dr. B, I can't articulate what you just articulated, but I will tell you this. Your release of this part of our celebration was not only a game changer, but it was a game winner because that's who you are and that's what you do. You make leaders and you make winners.
Mm,
And that's why our world is a better place, is because you're still in it.
thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you so much. Everybody, just make sure that you're checking our website out. We will be continuing to let all of you know all the time when Dr. B is going to be doing her Weight of the Cross podcast, because we need to know it's not just taking your crown off, it's just moving it where you can do something else. And I'm just glad for her. I'm glad for what she's going to be doing. I know she's going to have to include me because I know y'all heard her singing at that beginning. So, I'm in there somewhere. But I do want you to know that we're thankful for our legacy and we're thankful for what God is going to do with Sounds of Good News and with Yes Club to help us to inspire and empower young people to be their best and to save lives one child at a time. And you know how I know it? Because Dr. B saved mine.
Mm, mm.
Thank you so much. Signing out for now. Remember, plenty more in 2024. Because, like Dr. B said, there are many doors. God bless.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
It was mine.
Celebrate.
It was mine.